Greetings, loved ones. Today we are going to ask and answer the question, as best as we can, why do people hurt children? This is important information, so please help us get the messages out. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. So the big question is, why do people hurt children? There's no simple answer that will explain why some parents or adults abuse these children that they have. As with many things, the factors that lead to child abuse are complex and often interwoven with other issues. These issues may be far more difficult to detect and understand than the abuse itself. But adults who are abusing children may also show certain signs or behaviors, such as ignoring or denying a child's problematic behavior, changes, or difficulties, using language that shows they view the child as worthless or burdensome, an adult demanding physical or academic performances that aren't achievable by their child, a parent asking teachers or other caregivers to use harsh punishment if the child misbehaves, rarely showing physical affection to the child, a parent showing hostility to the child, especially in light of bad behavior, but also a parent displaying little concern for their child. What do you do if you are afraid that you might hurt a child? Being a parent can be a joyful, meaningful, and sometimes overwhelming experience. There may be times when your children push you to the limit and you might feel driven to behaviors that you wouldn't normally think you were capable of. The first step to prevent child abuse is recognize the feelings that you're having. And if you're afraid that you might abuse your child, you've already reached that important milestone. Now is the time to take steps to prevent any abuse. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to remove yourself from the situation. Don't respond to your child during this moment of anger or rage and walk away. What do you do if you suspect a child is being hurt? If you believe that a child you know is being abused, then seek immediate help for that child by reporting the abuse to the authorities. I want to make a point here. You do not need to investigate it, and you do not need to prove it's happening. All you need to do is report it so there can be an investigation and an assessment. So what is child abuse? We're going to start with the definition. Child abuse is any type of abuse or neglect that harms a child. It's often perpetrated by a parent, caregiver, or other person who has authority in the child's life. So let's talk about facts of child abuse. Child abuse is almost always preventable. It requires a level of recognition on the part of parents and caregivers. It also requires work from the adults in a child's life to overcome the challenges, feelings, or beliefs that lead to these behaviors. However, even though it's difficult, the work is worth the effort. Overcoming abuse and neglect can help families become stronger. It can also help children lower their risk for future complications. So let's talk about the consequences of abuse during childhood. A 2009 study examined the role of a variety of adverse childhood experiences on health in adults. And these experiences included abuse, physical, emotional, and sexual, witnessing domestic violence, parental separation or divorce, growing up in a home with family members who had mental health conditions, substance abuse disorders, or were sent to prison. Researchers found that those who reported 6 or more adverse childhood experiences had an average lifespan 20 years shorter than those who didn't have these experiences. Individuals who were abused as children are more likely to repeat the cycle of behavior with their own children. Child abuse or neglect might also lead to substance abuse disorders in adulthood. If you were abused as a child, these consequences may seem dismal to you, but remember, help and support is out there. You can heal and thrive. Knowledge is also power. Understanding the side effects of child abuse can help you make healthy decisions now. So how do you spot signs of child abuse? Children who are abused don't always realize they're not to blame for the behaviors of their parents or other authority figures. They may attempt to hide some of the evidence of abuse. However, adults or other authority figures in the child's life, such as a teacher, coach, or caregiver, can often spot telltale signs of possible abuse and help them. So how can you help stop the cycle of abuse? We want you to know that healing is possible when adults and authority figures find ways to help children, their parents, and anyone involved in child abuse. While the treatment process isn't always easy, it's important that everyone involved find the help that they need. This can stop the cycle of abuse. It can also help families learn to thrive by creating a safe, stable, and more nurturing relationship. According to the CDC, over half of all children in the world, that's 1 billion children ages 2 to 17 years, experience violence each year. The question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice, and those who suffer violence, they need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will reach out and give them the help they need to leave before it's too late. These are important messages. Help us get them out. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. If you're a victim of violence, listen to me. You are valued. You are loved. You are intelligent, and yes, you are worthy. God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. You are not trapped. There is a way out, and it is not your fault no matter what anyone else has said. Abuse is not love. If someone abuses you and then says they love you, they're lying. Most of all, I want you to know you are not alone. If you're a victim of violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911. If you know of a child suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we're going to talk about child neglect in more in-depth. And until then, God bless you.